Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we're looking at former model ranks stranger's attractiveness by cut. Apparently this one is really controversial, so I'm going to be giving you some actual look improving facial aesthetics advice. So let's just get into it.
Stay comfortable in your house.
Damn. Hello.
Hi.
Do you feel comfortable ranking people's attractiveness?
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Like my parents would say, I don't know what it's like to be shy. But that really helped me a lot with my modeling career.
Oh, you used to model.
I modeled for about 6 years, but now I'm a mother of 5, and hey, this is me now.
I love it. Okay, let's bring.
Okay, really important caveat I want to start off with. She is a former model, which, mind you, what the industry wants in modeling is not determined by what the model thinks the industry wants. It's determined by the clients, and the only people that really know what the industry needs at that given point in time are the owners of such modeling agencies. I got the privilege to work with a few in Sydney, and what really happens is the owner of the agency or the manager or somebody up in the managerial chain would give the orders for what the client would need, and they'll try to sway what the client wants. So they'll do the client relations, and then the model would be given very direct instructions. So in terms of assessing beauty, in terms of assessing what the industry needs right now, asking a model is not the best idea. They really wouldn't know how to rate someone's attractiveness. They will know how to make a living off your looks, which is what I'm guessing we're going to see a lot more of here, rather than how to rate someone's attractiveness. So just keep this in mind. They're not the best people to ask what the industry needs or what looks are in fashion, what looks sell. The people that would know that are the people who work directly with clients, which are usually the CEOs or the upper management.
Bring our first person in.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
You seem very confident.
I think I'm confident about the way I look.
The world, they will like you a little bit skinnier.
Okay, all right.
If your body shape matches your height, people would not see your weight. With your confidence and the way you look, I'll give you.
Okay, so first thing I see here, I do agree. What she's saying is she's being a bit abrasive, and people get very sensitive when they hear that they need to lose weight. But I completely agree that this guy would look a lot better with a bit less of a pot belly, because he has nice proportions. He's got wide shoulders. He's quite tall. His femur to tibia ratios are quite balanced, and his torso is not that long. Having a shorter torso and longer legs seems to be more preferred than the other way around, for both men and women. But what I'm really noticing here is his posture. You notice how his whole shoulders seem to like slump forward, which is not a great look, honestly. It's kind of like they it's just, you know, having good posture is very important, especially when you're tall, because it's all the more noticeable. It's like an amplifier.
You a 7.
Other than the weight, is there anything else that I can improve on?
When you walk, your confidence, let it come out. When you walk like, oh, well, I don't know, people will see that.
That's great. Okay.
Thank you.
I respect his maturity. I mean, he took that advice based on, I don't know about the comment about his walk. It seemed perfectly fine. Actually, no, I take that back. Look at where he's looking right now in the pause video. He's looking down. No, that's a good catch by her. I think she's right about the walk, actually, now that I changed my mind. Yeah, he's looking down, and this actually reflects in the posture as well. Really important. You saw how I mentioned the posture is slouched forward, and this is usually due to a lack of having the right back muscles, which rounds out your shoulders forward. So you can watch any fitness YouTuber talk about this topic of rounded shoulders, Athlean X, or well, I can't think of any other big fitness YouTuber at the moment, but they've talked about this issue a lot. And so him getting a bit more muscularity in his back would help round the shoulders out backwards, and it would make it a lot less noticeable. It would improve his posture greatly. And for him, that's, I think, much better advice than just simply losing weight.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am wonderful. You have a beautiful face.
Thank you.
And the smile really helps. But you should...
Again, maybe I'm just being really pedantic here. First thing I noticed again is her posture, rounded back. There's nothing, it's not too bad, but ideally you want to have straight posture, not just for looks reasons, but also just for your general health. So you can see her back kind of contours that way, and her neck is just, she's looking downwards this way rather than looking forwards that way. So looking downwards rather than eye level, I think that's also a big influence here. And her neck is pronated forwards. Just minor things, but all of them are related to posture. I think posture is very important because it does change the way people perceive you, and there's research on that we can cover in a future video, but this is what's drawn my eye first.
Should not dress like your mother. I would give you a 6.
Okay.
Why am I giving you a 6, you may ask?
Yes, I would like to know.
You need to show your figure because you have a beautiful figure inside that big thing.
Thank you.
Okay? So take off the glasses.
Take
Let
them
me
off.
see. Perfect.
Better?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
You have a good figure. You have a good face. So, and
I think she has a lovely face, and I think 6 maybe, no, I think she might actually be closer to a 7 rather than a 6. When you think about it, the idea of a 6 versus a 7 or like 5, I don't really like using the 1 to 10 Likert system because it's very inaccurate, and there's research on that. But what really happens is we tend to think of the scale from 1 to 10 in terms of percentages rather than in terms of percentiles. So there's a big difference here. We tend to think of it as like, 10% are in the 1 category, 10% in the 2 category, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. And, they're divided into 10% categories. That's how a lot of people interpret this, and that's how she's interpreting it. She gave the other guy a 7. She gave her a 6. And I presume she's going to give other people higher rankings as well. When in reality, if I'm thinking about this much more logically from a modeling perspective, my experience in the industry, what really happens is 8s, 9s, and 10s more like the top 5% of the population, maybe the top 3%, kind of like how billionaires work with income distribution. The top 0.001% have all the wealth, and so with looks, the top 0.001 have all the looks, and it's not equally distributed as we may tend to think. So giving her a 6 or a 7, I think she might actually be more towards a 7. She's got great features, really balanced facial forward growth. You can see it from the side view here. The only issue is she, like I mentioned, she pronates her neck forwards. So I wish I had good drawing skills, but I draw on a green screen on an iPad. It's very difficult, but her neck is going forwards, right? And this makes her mentocervical angle. If I can draw this, it's going to be very challenging. This is the mentocervical. So it's from the neck to the chin or the mandible body. And this angle essentially it makes you look like you have more submental fat. So submental meaning the under chin fat when your neck is pulled forward like that, rather than when you have good posture and you sit there with your head held high. It makes your jawline look a lot better. So that's a takeaway from this.
hands a little bit.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, hello there.
Hi, Nathan. How you doing?
Oh, good. Wow, that is good. What are we here to do?
You are here to check this out.
Okay. So I can see that you take care of yourself. I would give you a 9.
And why would you give me that? Thank you.
Because when you came out of that door, I knew that you have the sparks. That shows that you're very confident. It's good.
Aw, thank you.
All right? Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, I think 9 is a bit too high. He's definitely attractive and he's definitely confident in his features. He knows he's found an aesthetic that works well for him. And this is something that I spoke about in the previous video on men's fashion, where a lot of men go through many different styles. Some like wearing suits, some like wearing casual all the time, some like dressing like Harry Styles. Once you eventually find an aesthetic that works for you, it looks, you can carry yourself with pride. Also, his posture is very good here. You can see how straight he stands, especially with their hands held behind him. I guess it's kind of an optical illusion. It straightens his back out more than he normally would stand, but regardless, it's very good. And this is what she means by confidence. Really, she's just talking about posture, and she seems to correlate the two interchangeably. In terms of facial aesthetics, looks decent, nothing remarkable, but I guess it's just because he's tall, And height really does matter when you're trying to fashion clothes correctly. Some clothes are just designed with a certain femur to tibia ratio in mind, and dress pants are a great example of this. If you've ever seen really short people wearing dress pants, they kind of tend to look squat, and because the belt cuts off your midsection, he's wearing two different colors here, right? So it's color blocking. It makes it very apparent where your torso ends and your legs begin, and this is working in his favor because he has long legs, and as I mentioned, long legs are attractive on both men and women. It's preferred. This is showing his torso to be shorter and his legs to be longer, right? So this optical illusion between his legs and his torso is working in his favor. I know personally I really didn't like tucking in my shirt. I just thought it was geeky or nerdy, but eventually I found an aesthetic that worked really well for me as I got older, and so this is kind of something I'd do. I'd wear really high-waisted pants, something that'd go all the way up to here. Okay, maybe that's a bit too much, but right. So high-waisted pants, you can experiment with that. There's plenty of men's fashion YouTube videos on how to style high-waisted pants. So it makes the legs look longer, makes the torso look, makes your shoulders look wider actually. That's just something I've noticed with high-waisted. You can also wear low-waisted if you have shorter legs or really long legs and shorter torsos. You can balance it out. And so the way you delineate the belt buckle can move up or down. It doesn't necessarily have to sit on the waist, and this is something he understands quite well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
I'm Joanna.
Joanna, you seem nervous. Are you shy?
I guess I'm a little bit reserved.
I can.
Okay, really interesting. This is exactly what I was talking about. When shorter people wear pants, they look a lot more squat. And I think with Joanna here, she would have looked better if she wore more high-waisted pants because her legs are very, very short, especially the tibias. They're really short. And so all of her body mass is distributed across the legs, especially with women. They tend to store more fat in the lower part of their body, whereas for men, they store it more in the upper half. So having longer legs on women is a huge benefit to them because it essentially stretches their legs out and it's much more evenly distributed, whereas with Joanna, they're not as evenly distributed. And you can see in the contour of her jeans, it's not a homogeneous, or it's not like a straight or a curvilinear shape. It's more of a well, if I can draw it, well, never mind, I won't draw it, but it's more of a it breaks up the evenness of her pant legs a lot more harshly.
Tell you feel intimidated. Unfortunately, we'll give you a 5.
Oh, okay.
First of all, you need to change that glasses. It doesn't look very good on you.
Should I take my glasses off? Do you want to see that?
You can take it off. Yeah, let me
Would that
see.
make it better?
When you took out the glasses, I went to a 7.
Okay.
Looking at you, you're not very tall. How has that affected your life?
People either see me as a child, basically, or they don't give me the respect that I think I should get.
You can be a firecracker. Bring out that personality that will make people not see your height, but see who you are. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to her, but I think that's rubbish advice. Your personality doesn't just come out of nowhere. It doesn't just come out of thin air. It's developed through your physical experiences with other people. And so if people see you as being shorter, especially look at how big the boots are. I just noticed that. She's wearing really high heels. If people see you as being shorter, then they're going to treat you as such. And so no amount of being a firecracker or having an abrasive personality is going to really change their perception of you. Rather, changing your physical aesthetics or wearing a different set of clothes or I would recommend for Joanna to wear less tight-fitting jeans, essentially wearing less tight-fitting clothes and playing around with where the waistband sits. So if she wears more high-waisted clothes, then it could change the contour of her legs and make her legs look less squat. Essentially, her outfit, she's trying to be more mature, but you can't overlook her physical proportions. And I think rather than trying to just wear the clothes and hope for the best, you should understand where the shortcomings are, why people are treating you like a child, and then work that out yourself, right? So reverse engineer that. If they're treating you like a child because you're short, then what can you do to look taller? Not by wearing heels, but by changing the silhouette of your body.
I think
Perfect. I think you have very good smile.
Thank you.
You look clean.
Thank you.
With your hair, you're trying to stay young. On the facial hair, you try to look older. The combination kind of sets you off a little bit.
It's like conflict.
I completely agree with that. I'm surprised you said that. That's exactly what I was going to say. He has a very neotenous face, so neotenous meaning juvenile and childlike. If you haven't seen the video we've done on that, we've covered all the research on it, but essentially men who have more juvenile features, and women too. It's more of a benefit to women, less of a benefit to men. Well, neotenous faced men do tend to get a disproportionately higher share of help from others. So if that's what you want, then I guess having a baby face is a good thing. But for most men, it tends to throw off the masculinity. It tends to make them look more childlike and juvenile, as the name would imply. And so he's grown out the beard here, it doesn't look bad. I think that he's quite a good looking dude. He's not as tall as some of the other contenders we've seen, but he does style himself well. And this is kind of what I was talking about with the whole idea of the silhouette. So you can see he's wearing black on black with the black jeans. I think they're jeans or chinos or whatever you wish to call them, with black boots. And so the silhouette of his legs are a lot more seamless versus Joanna, who's wearing blue jeans with dark high-heeled boots. You can see exactly where her legs start and end, and it makes her look a lot more squat and shorter. With him, he's wearing the waistband, so he's wearing his pant legs a bit higher up, and so this gives a bit more length on his legs.
I would like to do some performing, but as of right now, I work retail.
The majority of the work will say, oh boy, what is he trying to sell? Look at that hair.
I think it looks good.
Stay with performing. And keep smiling.
I quite like the hair. I think it's unique. The alternatives for him, realistically, he either goes bald, he has a buzz cut, he grows the sides out. I don't think it would really make much of a difference. And the reason I say that, actually, if you can just see it in the corner before he leaves, his forehead right here, this forehead contour, I'll just draw it here for you guys really quickly. So say this is his hair and this is his forehead, and these are his eyes, nose, and mouth, right? This curvature of his forehead, and this is something a lot of men have. This is one of the most neotenous features that men have that makes them look more childlike. And this is exactly why she's coming up with this, oh, you have a babyish face or whatnot. It's this curvature of the forehead, right? So with more masculine men, their forehead slopes backward. And we made a video on this exact topic. Their forehead slopes backwards and then their hairline starts. So this straight angularity, and say this is your eyes, nose, mouth, whatnot, versus having a sloped forehead like that makes a big difference, right? So the angular forehead but versus the babyish, roundish forehead. Hairstyles are much harder to style on the rounded forehead, which is what he has, because it makes your hairline look much higher up than it is. My suggestion would be to get a lower hairline through, usage such as minoxidil or maybe even hairline reduction. Although, I mean, I can't really tell from this picture. I don't think there's a whole lot that would do him much good. Maybe having longer hair could hide more of the forehead, but it's his facial features aren't to his benefit, right? So I think 7, I think 6 is closer.
All right. Could you turn around a little bit? Okay. I like your dress. It looks very good on you. I can tell you have the eyelashes done. Doesn't really give you the 10. 8.
How would I get a 9?
You're a natural beauty person. You need to enhance what you have, but not.
Wait, what? Natural beauty? Natural beauty person? She's got makeup on though. That's not how it works. 8, I would not agree with. I think... No, I definitely don't think 8 is... She started off with 10 and then she gave her a consolation 8. She's like, I can't give you a 10 because then I'm just BSing you, but I'll give you an 8 out of consolation. And then she's like, how can I get a 9? I don't entirely agree with the advice she's giving here. She has actually a very similar case of short legs like the other lady, and the boots she's wearing, they do blend in better with the contour of her legs, and so it's a lot less noticeable. She also is a bit taller, so again, the taller you are, the more you can get away with, so it just does suck to be short in general. Her physical appearance, I don't think there's much else to say. The black does complement her figure really well. It accentuates the parts that she wants to show and then hides the parts that she doesn't, like the midsection versus her upper half. So her outfit's actually pretty good. It's well put together.
Add artificial to it. Do something about the nails.
I always
It
have them
looks-
super long. I can
Just-
type with them. I can do hair with them.
Wow. Okay. If it works for you, it works for you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. How you
I would say
feeling today?
6
Feeling
for that.
great. I'm wearing purple funky pants.
Yes, they are funky, all right. It doesn't go together. Shows me that you're very comfortable, but stay comfortable in your house. Okay? And that definitely has to go. So, 5.
Wow.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm a bit taken aback too. You saw how surprised he got when he got the 5. This is the type of guy that gets complimented on his looks all the time. He does have a very feminine face, and he understands that, which is why he's growing the hair out, and it suits his face. So this is what I talk about when I say men go through a lot of different aesthetics. Women too, but women tend to intuitively know more about what works for them and what doesn't, compared to men, who I tend to think they need more trial and error. And this guy, he knows what works for him. He is not trying to be anything he's not. He's not growing his beard out. He understands that his face is feminine. He's got feminine features, but he plays around that with the longer hair, the shaved face, his dress choices also. And that's exactly what she's criticizing, which I think is very unfair. So criticizing someone based on the clothes that they wear rather than their physical attractiveness is incorrect, because he can just go home, change into something that'll impress her, and then he gets a 10, right? So does that actually help you improve in your actual journey for looking better? I disagree, right? So clothes should be off limits.
Damn, your insight is very good in some situations, but honestly, like, I don't give a flying fuck. This is just like my drip, and I still love myself. So
I can tell. You take
Oh man, he is quite tall, and the baggy pants, they're actually, his clothes are proportioned really well. That's all I want to say. It's almost like a 50-50 between his torso and his legs. So proportion to me in terms of clothing is to proportion your physical features to accentuate the things you want and hide the
care
things
now.
you don't. So I think he's done a good job. Just the color of the
You
pants
don't
might
know
be a
the
bit
car that I
off-putting.
came in with, right? I don't want it. That is good. Look at you.
Oh, no, look at it.
You look good.
Thank you.
So you take good care of yourself, I can tell. I like the hair. I like the way that you portray
Mhm.
who you are. That is very attractive. 8.
Okay.
What you need to tone down.
What you would suggest, because what I need,
Mm-hmm.
I already do.
Okay. What do you do?
So I have an online store with some cute accessories.
What I don't get is people come onto the show, they know what's going to happen, yet they still, they just love arguing with the person in charge. What is the point of coming on the show then?
Accessories and thrifted finds.
Like say somebody goes to your site and see what you do and want to meet with you. If you want to show that spunk of professionalism, you need to first try to take that out. Well, I'm telling you.
So I only keep jobs that let me keep my nose in.
Okay, here's something that I just noticed. So remember at the beginning of the video, I told you she's a model, and all of her recommendations, I realize now, they're more geared towards professional employability rather than actual physical aesthetics. So this isn't a judgment of somebody's actual looks, and I guess we've kind of established that already, but this is more of a judgment of how employable they seem. And so all of her criterion, with the purple funky pants, she didn't understand the quote-unquote drip. She didn't understand her nose ring. These are all things because as a model, when the client wants a certain look, you have to perform what's known as aesthetic labor. And we've talked about this in some of the older videos where models have to change the way they look to please the client, basically, right? So you have to make some kind of sacrifice. And black women, on average, have to perform more aesthetic labor than their white counterparts, such as changing their hairstyle, curling and damaging their hair or straightening it out. And so I think this is where she's coming from, this attitude towards towards this lady is essentially in terms of the aesthetic labor that somebody like her would have to perform to get a modeling job, right? So
In yourself to who you are.
So I'm aligning myself with what is in alignment with me.
Okay. And the nails, beautiful, but they're too long.
To work with you.
Well, too long.
To work with you.
Not just mid-year.
right, so this is exactly what I said about aesthetic labor. You have to cut the nails to work with her. You have to get rid of the nose ring to work with her, so on, right? So this is the perspective that she's looking at it from.
It's me. I tell it the way it is. I try not to be too insulting. Most of the advice.
All right, so that's the video. Let's just quickly take a look at the comments and I'll give my final thoughts. I guess they weren't prepared for how direct she was going to be. Guy in funky purple pants got wrecked. See, the thing is, she's judging people based on the things that they can change, which is perfectly fine, but it's not a true assessment of their looks, right? So if the question is, former model ranks strange as attractiveness, and attractiveness I assume is physical attractiveness, then it's not a very good rating. And they always do this with all of Cut and Jubilee's videos. The people in charge have to fall under some kind of social norm, so they rate people based on what they think the camera wants to see, not what they really think. And so it's kind of some sort of performative act, right? It's just, she's just playing into what people want. She's serving strong African auntie vibes, which is why I knew she wouldn't hold back. The last girl got defensive because she doesn't agree with piercings. Not because she got mad for her rating. Sure, she got an 8 out of 10 anyway. She's judging them how she was judged. Most people who judge models aren't as attractive as the model, but they know what sells. What's interesting, again, and I use interesting a lot, is people are criticizing the look of the person judging as if you have to be some kind of look threshold to be judging other people on their looks. That's ridiculous. It's like you have to be a food critic to know when food is good or bad. There is a level of objectivity to really anything in life, anything that's related to the arts or anything that's related to beauty. There is a level of objectivity, and so she's entirely correct in her judgment of how she's assessed these people, but she's leaving out that she's looking at this from a model perspective. She's looking at this from a person who is employed in a modeling agency versus the person who employs people in a modeling agency. So big difference there. One knows what the client would want. The other knows what's in season, right? So sometimes having nose rings may just be in season, right? Being a black African model may just be in season. Sometimes it might not be. So no amount of changing what you look like is going to change that if you're not in season. The guy with funky pants took what she said completely wrong. When she said, stay comfortable at your house, she didn't mean you should have stayed home looking like that. She was saying that the pants look comfy, but when he leaves the house, he should dress accordingly. So funky pants was another great example of how she's looking at people's attractiveness. She's looking at it from a more of a client-based perspective. So, if you're going into a modeling photo shoot and going into a casting call dressed like that, you're not going to get the job, which is entirely true, but I don't think it's a good assessment of somebody's physical beauty. Alright, so if you've enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, the usual spiel. I suggest you should also check out our TikTok account, which is now run by an awesome TikTok manager. She's really knowledgeable in facial aesthetics and she makes a lot of TikTok specific content, which is great for the platform. So go follow the account that we have going there and show it some support. As always, you can catch our podcast on Patreon, which is gaining a lot of popularity. I'm glad so many people like it. And although it's a bit hard to produce, it is something that's a very rewarding experience. And as always, you can go to our Coov's website to order a facial aesthetics report, because if you liked how clinically evaluative we were with people's aesthetics here, then you're going to love the report. It's written by our team of doctors and dentists, and we have a couple of estheticians on our team now too. So a lot of clinical evaluations done on your face, very tailor-made to you and what your needs are, whether you have a receding hairline, whether you have orthodontic anomalies. We try to give you advice on what type of doctor you should see, what type of questions you should be asking, what type of surgeries you should be researching if you're into the surgery or the non-surgical route. So you can order a report at the Coov's website.